Okay, let's just jump right into a really fascinating and maybe even a little controversial idea. Why the smartest people walk alone. I mean, that's a bold statement, right? It totally challenges what most of us have been taught our whole lives about being social.
So let's start with a question. One I want you to really think about for a second. Is having more friends always better? I mean, society pretty much screams yes at us, but today we're going to look at a completely different way of thinking.
To really get to the bottom of this, we first have to tackle this huge cultural idea, this thing we can call the myth of popularity.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. On one side, you have the common view, the one we all know. Popularity is the same as success. But on the other side, there's a hidden truth, that for a lot of people, being alone isn't a failure. It's a very deliberate choice. I mean, just think about it. It's everywhere, isn't it? Movies, social media. The message is always that a jam-packed social calendar and a massive list of friends is the goal. But that whole way of thinking completely misses a crucial detail about what truly fuels some people, especially those whose minds are always, firing on all cylinders.
So, if it's not about collecting a ton of friends, then what's it really about? Well, this brings us to the real reason behind this whole approach, a craving for depth.
And let's talk about the biggest roadblock to depth, small talk. You know the drill. The weather, weekend plans, all the usual stuff. For a mind that's just wired to see patterns and think about complex ideas, those kinds of conversations can feel, mentally unstimulating. It's kind of like trying to run a high-performance race car on low-grade gas. It just doesn't provide the right kind of energy.
This quote right here, it just nails it. It makes you think of your social energy as a kind of currency. You can either spend it on noise, all that superficial chatter, or you can invest it in depth. And for some people, that choice is a no-brainer. So when you start thinking that way, it naturally leads to a very specific social strategy. Let's move on and see how this builds into a whole philosophy of quality over quantity.
I absolutely love this metaphor. Are you a social collector or a social curator? A collector is just trying to gather as many contacts as they can, kind of like stamps in a book. But a curator? Oh, that's a whole different game. They carefully, thoughtfully select just a few precious people, and then they pour their energy into really understanding and nurturing those connections.
And this isn't something that just happens by accident. It's a very active process. You can almost picture it like a funnel. First, you filter. You screen out all the superficial stuff. Then, from what's left, you actively seek out those people who offer real, meaningful connection. And finally, you invest your time and your energy into nurturing just a few of those really deep bonds.
So how should we really be looking at all this? This brings us to our final and maybe most important idea, which reframes this whole thing as the art of discernment.
Okay, let's be crystal clear about this, because if you take away only one thing, let it be this. Choosing to have a small circle or choosing to spend time alone is not a social failure. No, it's the exact opposite. It's high-level discernment. It's the ability to judge well, to know what you really need from your relationships, and to have the self-respect to not settle for anything less. It's not just a preference. It's a sign of real inner clarity. So, let's put it all together. This isn't about being antisocial. It's about being selectively social. It's not a sign that you don't have options. It's the result of having high standards. And at the end of the day, it all comes back to that one core choice: preferring the treasure of depth over the noise of the crowd. So we'll leave you with this question, one that kind of flips the whole idea on its head. What if the path you walk alone isn't a sign of being left behind, but is actually the powerful proof of someone on their own, deliberately chosen journey?